Hey guys, welcome back to the channel again. In this video, we are going to customize the status bar of DWM. We're going to take care also of the media keys and transparency for the SD terminal. Now, just a disclaimer here, this is just one of the million ways on how we can customize the DWM status bar. This is very personal and this is just one example of how you can do it. It's also to encourage you to explore further to find the way that you want to customize. Anyway, let's get going. So let's get going here in the third video for DWM. I already installed here Yay and Spotify, so if you didn't and you want to install them, go ahead before you watch the video, because we're going to use them for the tutorial. So the first thing we are going to do is to install a few packages which will help us configure the media keys in DWM. So let's open up the terminal. Let me increase the font size. And we're going to install the packages by typing in sudo pacman-s. And the first package is alsa.utils. And I'm going to install also pamixer and also player control. And the last package I'm going to install is the ttf-font-awesome, which is going to give us the possibility to insert icons in our status bar and also in the tags if you wish to do so. And then we can hit enter. Enter the sudo password and proceed with the installation. It's going to take a second to do that. There you go. That was quick, so we can clean up the terminal. And now let's change to the DWM directory. So we'll type in cd and then DWM dash and then hit enter. List the files, and we have our configurations files here with the patches we installed in the previous video. So I already prepared on the tag number 2 the Chromium browser, where we have here the key bindings for the media keys. I'm going to put the link to this project in the video description below, but I'm just going to show you here very quickly what they do. So we are basically inserting here some constant in the configuration file in DWM, and we are also telling DWM which keys to use with certain functions. And as you can see here, using the 0 value means we can use directly the volume up and volume down and mute buttons on our keyboards. If you have a smaller keyboard, like a laptop keyboard, for example, you might consider also writing in also these keys if it's convenient for you. In my case, I don't need this, and I'm going to insert only these first two blocks. So as it says here in the script, we need to insert first this line somewhere in the config.h file. So I'm going to copy this over and go back to the terminal, and I'm going to open the dev file first. So I'm going to type in vim config.dev.h and hit enter. And I'll go back to the beginning of the file here. And I'm going to make the fonts a little bit smaller. There you go. And I'm going to paste this in here on the second line. So let me do this very quick. There you go. Now I'll go back to the Chromium browser and I'm going to copy the constants here. So what we are saying here is basically for the up volume is going to increase the volume by 5%. For the down volume, decrease the volume for 5%. And mute is just a toggle. So we can copy these lines and go back to the terminal. And I'm going to paste them right on the top here. So I'm just going to enter them here. And there you go. Now let's go back to the Chromium browser. And we need to copy also these keys. So we have to be careful here because these started keys, it's already in the configuration file. We just need to copy the keys and the commands. So as you can see here, it says 0. So by hitting the down volume, which is corresponding to this key, it's going to spawn. And the command is going to be the down volume, which is going to generate a minus 5% volume. So let's copy these keys, and you want to be careful here to copy everything, the punctuation included. And then we can go back to the terminal, and we'll go down to the key bindings. There you go. I'm going to insert in here on the top just to make this easy. And there you go. Now we can save the file and exit Vim. Now we need to copy this into the configuration file, so we can type in sudo cp config.dev.h and then config.h and hit enter. Enter our sudo password and remake the install by typing in sudo make clean install and hit enter. Now this is not working yet because we need to restart DWM. I'm going to do this now with mod shift Q. There you go. We don't see, of course, anything here because the status bar is not yet taken care of, but the media keys now are working. So let's clean up the terminal and let's move to the next point, which is our status bar. So the status bar is actually controlled by the xset-root command. If I type in here in the terminal, for example, xset-root and then -name, and I put in here a text, for example, hello DWM, and hit enter, you see what happens here. It sends the message on the status bar. So the xset root is basically a command of X11, and this is how we can control our status bar. So this gives you an idea on how we can actually configure the status bar in several ways. Let me go back to Chromium, and let me go here to the second tab, which I already prepared for you guys. And you're going to find the link to this also in the video description below. And what actually Sackless is offering is what is so-called DWM status. So this is a bare-bones status monitor, as it says here, with basic function written in C. This follows the Sackless philosophy to give you an easy way to extend the source code for your needs. And you can extend this script with some helper function written in C, which you can find here down below. Now, I'm going to show you here now how to install this, because we could customize this as well. But for those of you who don't know C or are not comfortable with C and you prefer to work, for example, with scripts, I'm going to show you after another way. Anyway, if you want to install the DWM status, we can open up here a terminal, and let me increase the font size. Then we can copy these commands basically and copy them over here and hit enter. Now we can move into the DWM status directory. And we can first make, so we can type in make, as it says on the website. And now we need to make the prefix, so we'll type in sudo make prefix equals /user, and then install, and hit enter. Enter the sudo password. Without the sudo, it will not work. And then we can basically add this line to the xinitrc file. So let's copy this up, go back to the terminal, and I'll go back to the home directory and type in vim.xinitrc and hit enter. And what we can do here, I'm going to insert it here on the top, and I'm going to put the comment here, DWM status. And on the next line, paste in. There you go. And we can save the file and exit Vim. And now we need to reboot actually DWM for the changes to take effect. So let's type in reboot and hit enter. It's going to take a second to do that. I'll enter my username and the passwords and type in *x and hit enter. And there you go. Now you can see the status bar here. It's appearing on the top. And we could actually go ahead and customize this. For example, if we open up the terminal again, let me go ahead and increase the font size. We'll type in cd and then DWM status and hit enter. List the files. And we have the C file here, which is the code. So we could type in vim DWM status.c and hit enter. And we can go ahead here and customize this the way we want to. We can change the parameters. We can also insert icons if we want. It's written in C and it's probably the simplest way. Now let me close this up and open up Chromium again. And I'll go back to the website. So DWM status and hit enter. There you go. So this is what we installed, and it's a basic status monitor. So we have here the temperature, the load, the average loads. We have also the calendar and so on. And we can expand this by using one of these C scripts. For example, if you want to use the volume here, we could actually copy this code into the C file here, although we need to pay attention because it might not work. As it says here, there might be some compilation issues, and as a result, you might go into the file here and change some things. So you can definitely try this out. As Sackless writes on the website, this is the lightest way as it uses only C. But as I said before, if you don't know C that well, or if you're not comfortable using C and you rather want to have something more shell-oriented, then we have also these other options here that are also on the Sackless website. Now, the one that I actually explored the most is this DWM bar. So if you click on this link, we are brought to this GitHub project. So what we can do here, we can basically download this project and customize it the way we want to. This one comes already pre-installed with several modules like the ALSA, pulse, battery, and so on. And we can customize this further to our needs. So again, this is just one way on how we can customize the status bar. There are many ways. Customization in DWM is endless, but I'm going to show in this video how to use also these kind of scripts for people who are not so comfortable using C. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to install this. I'm going to click installation, and we are going to follow these steps basically. So let me clean up the terminal and go back to the home directory. I'll increase here the size of the window. There you go. And we can copy this line and paste it in here and hit enter. It's going to take a moment to do that. There you go. Now we need to go into the new directory. So we'll type in cd and then dwm-bar and hit enter. And we need to make the script executable. So let's type in chmod +x and then dwm_bar.sh and hit enter. There you go. Now the project is telling us to install some kind of Unicode font. so that the icons will appear here in the status bar. However, we installed already the font awesome, which are actually much lighter. So I'm going to use those actually to customize the script. Now we need to put also the script into our xinitrc file, as it says here in the project, although this is actually wrong. It's not dwmstatus, but it's dwm bar. So let's get out of this directory here and type in vim.xinitrc and hit enter. And I'm going to change here the script, and I'm going to type in here /home /hermano /dwm-bar /dwm_bar.sh and the ampersand, create one space here, and then I can save the file and exit Vim. There you go. I'm not going to start yet the script because we need to customize it. So actually, let me close this window and let's focus here on the terminal. So let's go back to the new directory and let's clean up the terminal and type in ls. So what we have here, we have the script, which is going to be used to run the status bar. And we have here a directory with the bar functions. So let's go shortly in there and type in ls. And here are the scripts used in the status bar. Now, we don't need to use all of them, and I will definitely not do that. I'm just going to use some of them. And you can, of course, choose the ones that suits you better. But first of all, I want to decide which modules I want to use for my status bar. So let me go back here one directory and type in again ls, and let's open up the script by typing in vim dwm and then hit enter. And I'm going to make the fonts a little bit smaller, and I'm going to scroll down until I see the exit root. Remember, exit root is basically the command which is going to show up here, and it's telling basically exit root with the name parameter to show basically the script that we have in the bar function directory. So here we have actually two lines. I don't actually need two, and I don't need actually definitely to see both of them. So I'm going to actually comment this line off, and I'm going to use only one. So here I can choose which modules I want to see. So for example, I don't need to see comment, countdown, alarm, transmission. I just want to have Spotify, resources. I don't need battery because I'm not on a laptop. I don't need the mail, and I don't need the backlight. I want to see also pulse, weather, and I want to see also the date. So that's it for me. Of course, you can use as many modules as you want. So let me delete the ones I don't need. So I'm going to delete those, for example. And I'm going to delete also here until ALSA, because for the sound, I'm going to use pulse anyway. And I'm going to delete also VPN until the seekers and delete this line. So I'm going to show basically just Spotify, resources, the pulse audio, weather, and the date. That's enough for me. As I said, you can change, of course, this accordingly to your needs. Then I'm going to scroll up still once because I want to have a look here at the separators. So this script has two separators. It's going to show a squarely bracket before the parameter and another one at the end of the parameter. That's for me a little too much, so I don't need actually to have two. So I'm going to comment this one off. And for the separator, in my case here, I'm going to use actually the pipe symbol. And I'm going to give a space before and a space after. There you go. And now I can save the file and exit Vim. Now, we need to go back into the bar functions directory and configure the modules we want. So let me go back there. Now, I'm going to show you how you can customize one module because the other ones are basically going to be the same. And to show you how it's done, I'm going to use the weather module. So let's type in vim and then dwm_weather.sh and hit enter. And this is how the weather module works. Basically, we need to replace here the location with our city. So let me do this very quickly. There you go. And now the weather module is going to pull information from the weather.in service. And depending on if you're showing Unicode or not, it's going to show you the value. So if you're showing Unicode, it's going to show you the Unicode of the fonts you have installed. We didn't actually install any Unicode font, and that's fine with me. So in case that the Unicode font is not found, the module is going to show you this word instead of the icon. So DWA for weather. Now what I want to do here, I don't want to use Unicode. So I'm going to remove actually the word here, Unicode. And if I let it so, it's going to display the word weather. But I want to replace actually this word with the font awesome. So how do we do this? Well, let's pull up the Chromium and let me increase the window size here. And I will type in here font awesome cheat sheet and hit enter. I'll take the last one here. And this is a new, actually, the font awesome 6. So let's type in here cheat sheet and hit enter. There you go. And this is the weather. So I'm looking for the temperature icon. which is right here. So I'm going to choose the first one. Doesn't really matter. It's just to show the icon. I'm going to go back here, delete the word, and paste the icon in. And there you go. I will let a space in between. That's fine. And we can save the file. And this is customized. Now let's exit Vim. And let me put the terminal actually on the second tag. We have more space there. And let's type in ls again to see all the modules. And let's have a look, for example, at the pulse module. Let's type in vim dwm underscore pulse.sh and hit enter. And here you could do basically the same because you can see the icons are not appearing. We didn't install them anyway. So if we remove this Unicode parameter, it's going to show basically mute, vol, for the icons. So what we can do, for example, here, we can go back to Chromium and we can search for volume. And as you can see here, we have volume mute. We have also here volume down, volume off, and volume up. We could use these icons to replace them there. So what I could do, for example, here, I could copy this volume mute, go back to terminal, and let's say instead of mute here, which I'm going to delete, I can show this icon like so, and I'll create also maybe a space. There you go. Now it's not going to show the full icon here, but this is the muted one. And I can repeat the same process for the others. And I'm going to remove also this Unicode here for now. There you go. Now I'm going to go ahead and also implement the other icons, and I'll be back in a second. So there you go. The icons looks the same, but when we reboot DWM, they are going to work anyway. So let's save the file and exit Vim. Now you can go ahead and repeat the same process basically for the other module you want to use. I'm going to do the same now for the other ones I'm using, and I'll be back with you in a second. Now, before I save the resource module, I wanted to show you something here. You have to be careful if you want to show the storage in your computer. This parameter will not work. You'll have to replace this with your home directory, or if you want to show the whole computer resources, we can actually just delete this and just let the $sign for the variable. And it's going to show you the resources then on the whole PC and not only on your home directory. Now we can save this file, and I already customized everything else. So what I can do now, we can actually leave Vim, and we could actually restart DWM. So let's give it a go. Let's type in reboot and hit enter. Again, it's going to take a moment to do that. Type in the username, password, and startx, and hit enter. And there you go. We have now the status bar up and working. Now let me press the volume key. And yes, it's going up and down. And let's mute it. And there you go, it's also mute. Perfect, then everything is working fine. So this is a very simple way on how to customize a status bar. Now let's see what happens if I pull up Spotify. And the icon is working fine, so let's play something. Probably you will not hear anything because I can't play any music here on Spotify. But I can see the title is working, so Spotify is working fine. So we can close this up. And the last thing I want to customize here, it's the tags. Now this is again optional, of course. This is up to preference, but I'll open up again Chromium. And I go to the cheat sheet again, and I want to search here for the terminal icon, which is right here, and open up the terminal, increase the font size, and I'm going to type in here cd dwm-6, and I'm going to open up the configuration file. So I'll type in vim config.dev.h and hit enter. And I'm going to go up here to the tags, which are the ones here 1 to 9. I'm going to replace this one here with the icon and delete the one. Let's say for the second workspace, I want to have actually Chromium. So I'm going to scroll up here, go to the brands and search for Chrome. There you go. And I'll copy this icon here and I'll paste it into the number 2. There you go. And for the third one, I'm going to use it for Telegram, which is right here. There you go. I can choose the plain or the round one. I'm going to choose the plain one and paste it in the number 3 and delete the 3. And for the fourth one, I'm going to use Spotify. So I'll type in here Spotify. There you go. And copying in here the icon. There you go. And for the fifth, I'm going to use just a question mark because this is a free space. It might be used for anything. And I'll let the others as they are. Then we can save the file and exit Vim. We can restart the DWM, but I think I need to reboot the machine one more time. But before doing this, let me do the last touch, and that is to give transparency to our terminal. So let's go here and type in here st patches and hit enter. I'll go down to the patches here for st, and we're going to go to the alpha patch, which is right here. Now we're going to use the last one. And before I do this, I'm going to go back here one directory and go to the ST directory. There you go. And let's right click here on the patch and click Save As. I'm going to save this directly into the directory. So I'm going to go to the ST directory here and click Save. There you go. And now we can patch it by typing in patch, minor than symbol, and then st-alpha patch and hit enter. The patching was successful, so we need to configure again the files. So let's type in sudo cp config.def.h and then config.h and hit enter. Enter the sudo password and then make the install again by typing in sudo make clean install and hit enter. There you go. Now let's close the terminal up and open up a new one. And we have transparency in our terminal. So what we can do now, we can reboot one last time the machine. So let me type in reboot and hit enter. Type in the username, password, and startx. And as you can see, the icons didn't appear because we didn't recreate the installation after I changed it in the configuration file. So let me open up the terminal again. And I go back here into the directory. And I'm going to type in sudo cp config.def.h and then config.h and enter the sudo password and then type in sudo make clean install and hit enter. Restart DWM and our icons are there. Now everything looks good, and the last thing I want to do actually is to increase a little bit the font size because they're a little bit too small for my eyes. So let me type in vim and then config.def.h and hit enter. And I'm going to choose here for the size, let's say 12, a little bigger, and also for the menu, I'm going to choose 12 as well. And save and quit vim. And I'm going to repeat the same process again by copying the files and remaking the install and restarting DWM, and that is for me much better. Now, the last thing I would like to show you before we wrap up DWM, it's floating mode. So as you can see right now here, we are in tiling mode. So we have a master window, which is this sign, and the tiling windows here. So if I open up the terminal and another 2, it corresponds exactly to this figure. Now, if we hit Mod and spacebar, we're going to go in floating mode. So let's say I want to pick up this window here. So I hit the Mod key and I click the left mouse button. I can move this window around the way I want to. So I can let it here, for example. And I can pick up this one right here and move it up here, for example. And now if I hit again, for example, the Mod key and the spacebar, they are both falling back into tiling mode. So this is just to know that you can use also floating mode if you decide to do so. Let me close this window up. And this is going to do it for DWM. Again, I want to reiterate, this is just one way how you can customize the status bar. But if you want to use a script, this is a very good script because it's very modular. You can decide which modules you want to use. And I will leave the link to the script also in the video description below. So there you go, guys. This is one way how we can customize the DWM status bar. Again, this is just one of the million ways to do that. I really encourage you to go ahead and explore further the ways you want to customize yours. I hope you liked the video, guys. If you did, please hit the like button below and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Subs always helps us out. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by visiting our Patreon website, or you can donate via PayPal to our website as well. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you soon in the next one.